What's going on, guys? Mr. Domo back at it again with some more vintage Kenner Star Wars action figures. And as you can see, I laid out all my Jawa collection that I got so far. So I have 9 right now. Most of these guys are graded by AFA being the action figure authority. And then this guy right here, the vinyl cape, is actually graded by Collector Archive Services. But I do have a new member to the Jawa family here, and that is this guy right here. And this is pretty interesting. This is graded by UKG, and this guy right here, I don't know if you could tell, but he is a 3-tone stitch Jawa variant. Now, as you can see, maybe at the bottom there, you can see that he's got black stitch there at the bottom of his cape. And then down at the sleeves and at his hood, he does have kind of like a light brown stitch, and then he has a internal stitching that's a different color. So let me show you the label here. So this is a Star Wars Jawa 3-tone stitch. This is a 1977, no country of origin, and of course this Jawa received an 85. So the figure was an 85, the paint was 85, and the cape was a 90. So overall 85, which is a really good score. And this, I mean, when I started this collection, I thought I had an understanding of how many different variants they are with these Jawas, but man, it's just like you just fall into this rabbit hole if not knowing how many different variants there are. And so this guy right here, I had no idea that there was actually a 3-tone stitching on a Jawa. So there he is. And of course, you know, this is actually my first UKG graded figure here. So like I said, most of them are graded by you know, AFA or CAS, and so I've never owned anything graded by UKG, which is interesting that their cases are a little bit taller. So I'll pull out this guy right here, and as you can see, their cases are a little bit, not too much, but maybe like a 1/4 of an inch taller. And then of course, you know, this guy right here, the vinyl cape, he's graded by Collector Archive Services, excuse me, and their cases are almost a little bit the same, but the Collector Archive Services is a little bit taller. So it's, I don't know why they make it a little bit taller, but I'm not sure when this guy was graded, because they are still kind of taping the accessories right there on the side, just how they used to do it back in the day, like this guy right here. So I don't know if UKG, excuse me, is starting to implement this kind of like acrylic holder for their accessories, but this is very interesting. Like I said, I had no idea that there is a 3-tone stitch out there. And so he is my newest member, and so I brought all these guys out because I think it's been a while since I've done a video on all the different variants that I own right now on these Jawas. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start from the top and then work my way down. And so I kind of laid them out what is more common and then a little bit more rare. So up here, this guy, I think he was my first one. And so this guy right here, this Jawa, he is a light brown stitch. So this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, and this is a Hong Kong country of origin Jawa, and he's a light brown stitch, and he received an 85 plus, so really good score. And I believe he was my first one, and these are super common. You could find these guys all day long with the light brown stitch, and there's so many of them out there, and I think I still have a few of them that are ungraded that I need to go and get graded. So this is the light brown stitch. And then the next one that's a little bit more common with that brown stitch is the dark brown stitch. And so here's the dark brown stitch, and you can see that you could barely see the stitching. It kind of really blends in with the cape there. And this guy is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, Hong Kong country of origin Jawa, and he's a brown stitch, dark brown stitch, and he also received an 85 plus, so really good score. And of course, you know, like the light brown and a dark brown are really common, and you could really find those if you're in the market or you're starting to collect Jawas. Now the third one here, This guy, I would say he is mostly common too, and this is the small hood and then a smooth cape, and I believe this guy is super common when it comes to the power of the force carded, you know, figures. These guys were really in there. And so let me show you here the label. This is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure. This is a no country of origin Java, and he's a small hood smooth cape, and he also received an 85. So again, these guys are common too. They're not hard to find. You could find them, and mostly, like I said, what I've noticed is that these guys really came in with the power of the force, the original power of the force card back with the coin, and so this is not really hard to find. And he actually has kind of a dual stitch going on, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but he's got it like a dark or a black stitch going on, and then at his hood he's got that brown stitch. But I don't know, AFA didn't annotate a dual stitch or anything like that. Maybe that's how the small hood smooth cape, you know, that's how they come. So the fourth one, this guy right here, I wouldn't say he's super rare, but you can find these guys. They're really out there in the market, and this is the purple stitch, and you could really see it. I think you mostly see it right there at the hood, and then maybe a little bit at the brown, or I'm sorry, at the bottom, but it almost looks brown. But if you really have a lot of light towards it, you could see that purple. And so this one's a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, country of origins Hong Kong, Java, and this is a purple stitch, and he also received an 85. So again, a really good score. The blasters are almost the same. I think there's a couple variants with the blasters. There's like a bump or no bump, and there's like little minute differences in their blasters, but this one's a purple stitch, and like I said, not really too rare, but you could really find this guy out there in the market. Now the fifth guy here, I would say this one's starting to get into that rare territory, and this guy right here is my dark green stitch, and so like these are a little bit harder to find, but they're out there, and as you could see, you could really see it right there on the sleeves, that green stitching there. And so let me show you the label. So this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, countries or origins Hong Kong. So a lot of them are Hong Kong, Jawa, and this is a dark green stitch, and he also received an 85. So really cool. But like I said, you could really tell by the sleeves there. And then of course at the bottom, it's like a light brown, almost just dark brown stitch. But the dark green stitch really runs around the sleeves and in the hood. So really interesting. And of course, you know, another thing to point out with these Javas is their hood. So they usually have a small, a medium, and a large hood, but mostly they don't really annotate it unless it's like a small hood. So the sixth guy here, now this one definitely is in the rare category, and this is a gray stitch, which is really interesting, and I was really surprised to see this guy, because I had no idea that they even existed. But I know that there's a gray, I know there's a lily letty white stitch, and then there's a rust color stitch out there, and then I think supposedly there's a maroon, but I have not seen it. So this is a gray stitch, and let me show you the label here. So this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, country of origin Hong Kong again, and then Jawa. This is a gray stitch, and he received a 75. So as you can see right there, his you know, his hood kind of connecting to his main cape is a little you know, messed up there, but still, I mean, 75. And of course, you know, this is great, I mean, because you really don't see a lot of gray stitches, and of course he does have some paint rub right there at his hand, so you can start to see the actual color underneath. But this is really awesome, a gray stitch. I mean, they're not really a lot out there, and so and when people do have these, it's rare that they even go on sale, so that is very interesting. Now my seventh Java here, now this is pretty crazy here. I think this is kind of more of an error, but this is also rare because I've never seen it. And this one right here, again, this is a green stitch, but only on the sleeves. So as you can see, everything else is kind of like a dark, maybe a light brown stitch on the hood, and then of course at the bottom of the cape, but there's only green stitching on the sleeves, which is pretty crazy out there, and I've never really seen one other than this one out in the market. But this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, country of origins Hong Kong, Jawa, green stitch on sleeves, and he received a 75. So again, this is very interesting. I've never seen anything with just the green stitching, but you know, it makes me wonder that, you know, with this guy with the 3-tone, is that there's probably crazy variants out there with different coloring stitches. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was like a purple stitch maybe only on the sleeves, or purple stitch and then brown stitching or whatnot. But very interesting. And again, I would say this is somewhat in a rare territory because I have not seen it. I've not seen this green stitch only on sleeves variant that it's out there. So pretty cool. Now this guy right here, this is the vinyl cape, and I would say vinyl capes, I mean, they're not hard to come by. They're just expensive, you know what I mean? So like you know, there's two types of you know, you have a Kenner and then you have a Toys, I believe that's the company's name. So there are two variants of the you know, vinyl cape, but they're not rare. You could find them. It's just that they're pretty pricey, and that's it. But this guy right here, I don't know if I could show you the label because of the accessory holder, but this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars Jawa vinyl cape, and of course this is a Hong Kong country of origin. He received an 80, so this is a great score for you know, a vinyl cape, you know. And obviously if you find one on a card back, like, they go for like thousands of dollars, so it's really insane. But like I said, a vinyl cape to me is not that rare. They're just really expensive, you know, and kind of, it's a lot of money to come by. Now this guy right here, this is another interesting one. He is somewhat rare, but you do see him in the market, you know, here and there. But this guy is a small hood with dark stitching all around. So as you can see, if I bring it up closer, you can see like it's just like dark. They call it dark, but it's almost black stitching that's all the way around this guy. And of course he's a small hood, so look how tiny that hood is. But let me show you. So this is a 1977 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure, no country of origin, small hood and dark stitch, and he received a 90. So really great score. I think this is one of my highest scoring action figures. I think the other one is my I want to say it's my C3PO from Droids, and he received a 90 plus or 90, but really good score. And of course, like this guy, you know, he's not that rare, but you know, you do see him pop up, you know, here and there in the market for sale, and of course the dark stitch and everything like that. So pretty interesting. And I've noticed that the small hoods are really all of no country of origins, but I wonder if there are some Hong Kongs out there. And of course, you know, the new member here, this is, you know, another no country of origin, and of course, you know, as you can see, he does have the small hood. So it makes me wonder if all small hoods are no country of origins. But this is very interesting. Like I said, I've never seen a 3-tone Jawa, and of course, you know, I gotta say thank you to John over at the Action Figure Grader over at his channel, because he's the one that alerted me about this guy being on sale. And so that's pretty much it. I just want to share my Jawa collection. Hopefully when I get other figures, my focus figures, you know, I'll do one on you know, R2D2, and then of course C3PO, and I'll do a video on that. But I just want to share a new member, and now that puts me at 10 with my Jawa collection. Actually I have 11. I didn't bring them out, but I do have a carded Power of the Force Jawa with the coin and everything like that, but I forgot to bring them out here on the video. But so I guess technically it's 11. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you like this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.